Your Honour, my name is McDonald, McDonald, initial D, and I appear for the defendant Wahuhu. I will be presenting two defences under the Defamation Act 2005, Victoria. The first is qualified privilege under Section 30 of the Act, where the onus of proof requires the defendant to establish three elements. The first is subsection 1A, and I quote, "The recipient has an interest or apparent interest in having information on some subject." The core functionality of a search engine is to provide people with information on a subject they have an apparent interest in. I draw your Honour's attention to the case of Google Inc. and Duffy 2017 SAS CFC 130, where I respectfully submit that the conclusion regarding searches for narrow information was not correct. Basic operation of a search engine provides that to narrow down a search, you simply use more keywords. Therefore, the recipient can easily choose to narrow the search parameters to only the information that they have an interest in. I would submit that searching a person's name on the internet is more than just curiosity. It is fundamentally seeking information which will all be of interest. I believe the correct application for this element is in the dissenting judgment of Honourable Chief Justice Kourakis as stated from paragraph 297 to 307. I quote from the conclusion, "The persons who made the subject searches had a greater interest than idle curiosity." The second element as per subsection 1B is that the matter is published to the recipient in the course of giving to the recipient information on that subject. Your Honour, this speaks to the fundamental functionality of a search engine. I submit that this element is easily met based purely on the mechanics of search engines. The third element as per subsection 1C is that the conduct of the defendant in publishing that matter is reasonable in the circumstances. Your Honour, there are a number of listed matters under subsection 3 which the court may take into account. At this time I will focus on subsection 3E through G, and I will frame these elements in the relevant context of information being republished by a search engine. Subsection E considers, and I quote, "whether it was in the public interest in the circumstances for the matter published to be published expeditiously." The amount of information on the internet is astronomical. In fact, a Google search engine tells us that as at 24th of September 2019, there were 6.08 billion web pages, and that is likely to be thousands of petabytes of data. In today's society, we have become accustomed to instant access to information, and this is what a search engine is expected to provide. I submit that it is most certainly in the public interest for search engine results to be published expeditiously. I believe this also addresses subsection 3F, which considers the nature of the business environment. Subsection 3G considers the source of the information and integrity of the source. In the context of a search engine, the integrity of the source of information is dictated by the regulation or lack thereof of the internet itself. There is a general expectation that the internet is a free and accessible source of information. There is a balancing act between protecting reputations and allowing free opinion and information. Because of this, most people who use the internet do so with caution regarding the integrity of the information. It is not the function of a search engine, nor necessarily in its capability, to check the integrity of the information. In conclusion for this defence, Your Honour, I submit that constraining search engines to require the verification of all information would completely disable its functionality. To hold a search engine responsible for the information it republishes is to ignore the true source of the information and would likely open the floodgates for litigation. In the alternative, I will now move to our second defence. The defendant submits under the Defamation Act section 32 the defence of innocent dissemination. I assert that due to search engine functionality, as mentioned previously, the defendant is certainly a subordinate distributor. The key issue is if the defendant knew or ought to have known the matter was defamatory as per subsection B. The defendant receives thousands of emails every day. It has significant resources dedicated to responding to those emails. However, this still takes time. Additionally, the defendant cannot simply take email complaints at face value and instantly block web results. The defendant requires time to assess the veracity of each claim. Given the complex nature of the technological landscape, I submit that the time it took the defendant to access and block the content was entirely reasonable. The defendant was not negligent as per subsection C, but was in fact diligent and used careful consideration to ensure the matter was dealt with appropriately and within the defendant's ability to do so. In conclusion, Your Honour, I suggest that the plaintiff has chosen the wrong target in this matter. The plaintiff should have taken action against the original publisher, and if successful, the defendant's search engine would have had no results to republish. Thank you, Your Honour.